Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV for our thoroughbred horse racing coverage. And that means Jon Hardoon is on the scene from the Ragnars and Sheets. How's it going, John?
Good. How are you, Greg?
I've been better. As you can hear, the audio is not exactly the way that we would like it, but I've got to fix my mic. It took us an hour to figure out how to at least get on with this computer mic. But hey, we're on the air, and we'll get it fixed for the next show. But the bottom line is we're here, and we're going to get a lot of information to gear up for the 3 Kentucky Derby prep races, 50-point races, the Gotham, the Fountain of Youth, the San Felipe. We're not going to really touch up on the San Felipe much because there's nothing much to touch up on. But before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and recap what happened last week. Probably should have set these things up. I tell you what, let's first of all, let's touch up on, because this wasn't a Derby points race. Let's just, it's the biggest, a lot of people felt this was the biggest race of the weekend. Matter of fact, one of our viewers, who is it? Because we're going to do a lot of viewer comments here. It was Roshan Kurakozy. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who cares about the Rebel? This week, Saudi Cup big boys around the globe competing. American horses are not the best horses in the world. So that was Roshan Kurakozy. Anyway, is that an opinion that others share, John?
Everyone has their own opinion, Greg. What can I tell you?
I'm just saying, do a lot of people have that opinion? I should
No, a lot of people don't have that opinion. And listen, I mean, there's something to what he says. Last Saturday, they had a big race. That was a terrific race, the Forever Young race. It really was. He's been unlucky. He should have won the Derby, to be honest with you. He got mugged in the middle of the stretch by Sierra Leone. And it looked like he was beat Saturday,
yeah.
but that horse won. He pulled off the rail and he went back around him, and they beat the rest of the field by a mile. And take nothing away from Forever Young. He's going to be a top horse for this year anyway, for sure.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, is it just the way it looks, or do they have like a really long stretch drive?
They have a really long stretch drive, but it's the worst place in the world to watch races. Unless first of all, the saddle cloths are all the same color. So, like in the States, every number is a different color. So like red is 1 or orange is 7, or whatever.
Okay.
And where they were running last week, every single saddle cloth is the same color. Not only that, the camera angles they give you are horrible. If you're not running 1, 2, 3, you have no idea where your horse is. You really don't. And they keep switching camera angles, and they're using drone shots and everything else. The racing was terrific. The camera work, not for me. Makes it very difficult to bet a horse this, seriously, unless you're betting a speed horse. If you're betting a horse coming from behind, good luck finding him.
Yeah, and they also didn't put the name of the horses on the screen either. They don't put the horses, the numbers.
The post position is different than the actual number that they are. It's like you could be number 2 but break from post 11. The whole thing is a little crazy. Catch up with the times.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where the reason we don't handicap those races is because we don't do the races during the year. So it's silly to handicap one race out of track that we never talk about.
Yeah, but these are big horses. People are familiar. Serious players know most of these horses for the most part.
Yeah.
Listen, Forever Young is run in the States and in Japan and in Dubai and everywhere else. So he doesn't miss a beat.
The track itself, though, handicapping a race, if you're not familiar with the track and you don't handicap a lot of races at that track, that makes it very difficult, especially if you don't have the sheets, which is something obviously that is important.
Well, we make numbers for most of those tracks where those horses were coming from, but there were a lot of Japanese horses this year, and we're just catching up on Japanese numbers. By Breeders' Cup, we should have all the Japanese numbers in order.
All right, sounds good. So now let's go on to the Rebel, and this was the big one.
You like the winner. My horse was scratched. You like the winner. Congratulations. By the way, that's a great human interest story. You know, it's an old time trainer. He's been in the business for 100 years. The horse broke his maiden at Evangeline Downs. That's not a big track. It's a minor league track in Louisiana. And to make it from there to the Derby is quite a story.
Yeah, and I really have to give this the runner up some credit because he was going blazing. Who was that horse that American Road?
Yeah, I thought Madacat or something.
Madacat Road, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised he held on and actually battled because he was going as fast as he was.
Well, if you watch the rest of the races on Saturday from Oakland, the track was souped up. It was a speedway. Whoever made the lead for the most part won. So the track carried him, you know, but again, take nothing away from the winner. He closed and he ran very well.
Yeah, it was a perfect setup for him. Getting those blazing speeds and being able to hold back and then time it at the right time. And then there's this Sandman. Everybody wanted Sandman. You talked about that last week. That
I said everybody saw the trouble. He had 2 starts back, and they were all going to jump on. And those horses are bad bets. They really are, because you lose all value. When you want to bet a horse off of a rough trip, you want to bet a horse off of a rough trip that the whole world didn't see.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you see. Let's say you bet the horse and you notice the horrible ride he got or all kinds of trouble he got into. But it was so obvious what happened with Sandman the last time. I mean, it was a miracle the jockey stayed on the horse. And, you know, he came flying to make second. He didn't run bad, but, you know, there was no value in playing that horse at a short price.
Yeah, and it was kind of surprising, too, that he's a closing horse. And with those speed fractions, it was surprising he didn't, I don't know if he had trouble or what the deal was. But your horse, of course, scratched, Bullard. So
by the way, your horse ran a 10 that day. So he made a forward move. He ran 13-13-10.
Cole Battle?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cole Battle's coming. That's his best number to date, a 10. And yeah, so Bullard, do we have any idea what was the deal with Bullard? What happened?
He spiked the fever. He'll be fine.
Okay. So I guess we'll wait and see when we see Bullard again. He's coming off back-to-back 10s. And
he's going to have to show up because I don't think he has any Derby points.
I don't believe so, unless he got a couple at San Vicente. I don't think so, was it? Yeah.
Maybe 10 points. He's still going to need more points to get in. So he's going to have to show up and run somewhere.
Okay, so that was the Rebel. And speaking of the Rebel, we had one of our viewers, Jeff Hockman, actually said before the race that he liked Cole Battle. He said Cole Battle beat Speed King. We're getting 10-1. Obviously, he says we. That was I'm assuming he was saying me and him. Anyway, so Jeff is really excited about Cole Battle now. Even though I think he mentioned too that he was able to get him. I think he said to me on the we were going back and forth that he was able to get him at, I forget what the odds were. I think he said 30-1 maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. But now taking a look at the futures, and these are all different. But Cole Battle is 20-1. Barnes, I'm finally going to get to see Barnes this week. He's 8-1, as is Citizens Bull. So Citizen Bull and Barnes are 8-1. And is it still too early for you to, like, if you were somebody, if you had to recommend people who, let's say, I'm going to do futures, I'm just going to do it no matter what, I like to do it. When would you recommend is a good time to do it? When is it not too early?
Well, it's not too early if you're going to get 200-1 or 300-1, you know.
Yeah.
Then it's not early.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is as you weigh closer to the Derby, for example, Barnes is 8-1. I guarantee you on Derby day, he'll be 5-1. So you're going to bet so far out in advance and hope nothing goes wrong just to get 3 points more. That's silly. That's silly. It's not a smart thing to do.
Now for Colt Battle, if you got him like Jeff did at whatever 30 or 40 to 1, that's different.
Correct.
So that's value. Burnham Square, he's a horse we're going to talk about today. He's 20 to 1. Colloquial, I think we've got him today as well. He's 16 to 1.
That horse, that's an underlay. I know he ran a 4. He ran a 4, that horse, Colloquial. But he's not going a mile and a quarter. So, you know, he's not going to get, they don't think he's going to get the distance, and neither do I. And, you know, just because you ran a fast number and you're getting a big price, it doesn't mean it's the right bet.
Other horses that are racing this weekend, Journalism is 20 to 1. Rodriguez is 25 to 1, as is Sovereignty. Those are a couple of 25 to 1 shots. So Bullard, your horse that got sick the other day, is 30 to 1. Matticat Road is 28 to 1, who finished second to Colt Battle. So, yeah, it's still early, again, depending on which way you think about it. You know, one of the things that I think is fun to do, I like to do parlays with futures like that, where like if I like a straight game, like maybe I like a basketball game or something like that, and I got to give points or something, or maybe there's even a money line that's 2-1, it's a small money line. I might go, hey, you know what? I'll do like a parlay with those two games, and instead of me trying to make like 15 or 20 bucks, I'll match it with the future of like 20 to 1, and I could, and like a $2 bet, I could try to make like 150 bucks. So that's kind of fun. I like to do it that way. I know everybody's different. Let's now move on to the last race from this past weekend. That was actually a 20-point race, and this was the John Battaglia race. This was at Turfway. We don't do Turfway very often. This is the synthetic track. And there you see the stretch drive with California Burrito and Baby Max here. And let me just see here. So, yeah, so in this one, as you can see, this turned out to be a really good stretch duel down between these two horses here, John. It was real exciting to see them go up back and forth. And it turned out that California Burrito at 7-2 got the win. So not bad. Very, you know, anytime, and good. I don't expect these horses to be top contenders, of course, but anytime you see a horse like this, he's leading, he gets passed, and then he comes back. That's nice to see. So,
yeah, it's synthetic, though. A lot of strange things happen on synthetic surfaces.
Yeah. So
that take nothing away from the winner. The runner-up had no excuse not to win.
No. And then the race that we're going to close with, now this one is one that we forgot to do last week because this was the Sunland Derby, Sunland Park Derby. Now, normally it would be like no big deal, but I felt, yeah, why not share this as well? Not just because it's a Derby points race, but it was a really nice stretch drive. So you see here, you've got and actually this is a Lucas and Baffert horses, I believe, going head to head.
That's correct. Baffert beat Lucas by a nose. By the way, and the Lucas horse was slow. I think he ran 15s and 16s. Neither one of these horses are going to the Derby. And if they are, they have no shot. So.
Yeah. But this is a really great stretch duel. They went back and forth. A 6-5 favorite, Getaway Car, head bobbed, as you can see here, to a win over 4-1 Caldera. And yeah, so a very, very exciting race there.
By the way, we have people that are on this group that had a horse running last week, Straight No Chaser.
Yes.
Straight No Chaser. Someone, I think, you know, that's owned by My Racehorse. That's they have like 1,000 owners of the horse, and he posted on the bulletin board that they were going to win for fun. Congratulations to them. The horse ran super.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Straight No Chaser. Let me see. Going through the remaining viewer comments here. Let's see. Bluegrass Dan. Thank you, John and Greg. I've watched every show from day one, and your results are consistently in the money. Keep up the great work and insights. Thanks again, BGD Bluegrass Dan. Victor Freed. You guys are having fun giving out good picks. Thank you. Let's see. Anthony Ciavatella. Best show around.
Oh,
John, long time. And brother Jeff and his dad Dave gave me winners at Belmont long time ago.
There you go.
Great bloodlines, John.
Yes, sir. My father was a legend in the game.
Yeah. And that was back when?
70s and 80s.
Okay. So that was like
90s. Yeah. He passed away 17 years ago, but before that, he was at the track every day of his life. So
that's awesome. Bruce Henry, Greg does. Oh, so this was interesting. I put back and forth with Bruce Henry. It was the new viewer, and he goes, "Greg doesn't know what PRM is. Do your research." So, because anytime I see a track that we've never done before, and I see the initials that we've never done before, I'll say, "John, what is PRM?" He'll say it, and so. And then the very next one, he goes, "This guy doesn't know who Barnes is." And so I had to explain to him that, hey, first of all, John's the expert, not me. I'm the host. And if I don't see Barnes in a race that we don't handicap, then I don't know who he is.
Well, he's only had 2 starts.
Yeah.
So, by the way, he's an interesting story. They paid over $3 million for him. And the interesting thing about this horse is they shipped him back to Kentucky for his first race ever. It was the day that Churchill Downs decided to take the ban off of Baffert. So Baffert shipped this horse. They kind of, I guess, wanted to stick it to him. Let me tell you right now, nobody wants to win the Derby more than Baffert does this year to stick it to Churchill Downs. He's got a chip on his shoulder. They suspended him for 2 years, and then they extended the suspension, just because they felt like it and they don't like him. So there's no love lost between the two of those guys.
It should be a lot of fun at Derby Day, that's for sure. And then we had a couple of, not all of, I mean, Bruce, he didn't have any glad tidings, but.
You didn't find that straight no chaser guy? I forget.
Did we already? I don't know if we. I guess
maybe
we didn't.
It was from 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I might have it here somewhere. Moofy RC5DD, using only raggers and sheets is flawed handicapping.
Okay.
Then there's Mark, who says, Mark Y5M5E. You guys seem wedded to your sheet numbers. Your number are just a guide to be incorporated with other pertinent facts. And he goes on to talk about rendered judgment is too slow. In other words, this was, I guess, a comment that was made on our show a week or two ago. Rendered judgment is too slow. And he says, well, how can he be classified as too slow? And he goes through a whole thing. It was a big, long paragraph. And at the end, your numbers cannot reveal improvement between starts, and therefore accommodation must be made for same. So
that's actually not true, but that's a story for another show. I could spend 4 hours explaining to the guy why you could see horses moving forward and horses not moving forward and horses moving backwards and horses going in the wrong direction. So, it's easy to knock sheets and numbers, and obviously as time goes on, it's harder to make money at the racetrack because more people have figures, and horses that are obviously fast will be fast on whatever figures you use. It's not like it used to be. Horses today that pay $12, 3 years ago were paying $15, and 10 years ago were paying $23. So people are getting smarter. And again, we still have to deal with the CAW, computer-assisted wagering, which is going to destroy the game. But let's move on.
Yeah, and as we wrap up, by the way, Bruce Henry, who we had it back and forth, said it after I made a comment. He goes, because I basically said, I told him who I was, who you are. You're the expert, not me. So he goes, if that's the case, and I know Hardoon from Southern California back to 1990s, I will just listen to his picks and ignore yours. This coming from following horse for 65 years. And I just commented back to him and I said, basically, absolutely, yes, that's what you should do. Don't listen to me. So anyway, it's great to have new viewers. And that's why I also explained to him, everything back and forth with us is not just about me and him. It's about everybody else taking a look at our conversation. And I think that's really great for everybody who is maybe even new to the channel. Okay, so let's talk about Derby points races, starting with the race at Aqueduct. and this is going to be the Gotham. Now, the Gotham being 1 mile, why do you think that is? Why most of these races now are a mile and a 16th? Is that just history?
Gotham has been run in New York forever, and it's been run at Aqueduct forever, and it's been run around 1 turn. A mile at Aqueduct is not like a mile at, say, Santa Anita. Santa Anita, a mile is, you start in front of the stands and you go around the track. A mile at Aqueduct, they have a chute down the back stretch, and they just 1 turn around. So totally different game.
All right. So let's get into the Gotham. The morning line favorites are the 4 and the 5. Sacrosanct, we talked about him. He's the 4 at 3-1. The 5 is the 9-5 shot, San Devil. So let's.
By the way, something's going to have to give, because Sacrosanct is 4 for 4, and San Devil is 3 for 3. Unless they finish in a dead heat, someone's going to have a loss in their column.
Well, there is a big difference between the two, as you know, John, and that is the fact that the sheet numbers for Sacrosanct are 15, 14, 14, 16, while the sheet numbers for San Devil are 10, 10, and 12.
Right, and the 10 was at a mile at Aqueduct 2 starts back when he won by 12 lengths. Make no mistake about it, San Devil is the horse to beat.
Yep. All right, so let's go through the field. Scorching to 1 and the number 2 Normandy Coast. Those are 10 and 15 to 1 shots. Do you have a case for either of these two?
Well, we really know nothing about the 1 because he's never run on dirt. He's run on synthetic twice and he's run on turf once. So maybe he'll improve on the dirt. Maybe he'll go backwards on the dirt. We don't know. In any case, I don't like either one of them.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that we just talked about the fact that Sacrosanct at 3-1, his best numbers are 14. Well, Scorching had a 15 and Normandy Coast had a 15 as well. So they're not that far behind. Okay. The 3 is Calling Card. So Calling Card is an interesting horse here. He starts his first 2 races on turf, so we can throw those out. So his first race is actually at Aqueduct, at a mile. He wins the race, breaks his maiden by 17 lengths, and runs a 12. Then in his next race, he predictably bounces to a 15. And then it's the next one that is the issue, but that was on a sloppy track. So there are some things to, maybe.
You could definitely make some. I was actually using this horse as one of my horses underneath, to be honest with you, because I liked the 12 that he ran as a 2-year-old. Not only that, the 12 that he ran as a 2-year-old was his first time on the dirt. The 2 previous races were turf races, so they really don't mean anything. I see 12 as a 2-year-old, bounce to the 15. The 16, like you said, was on a wet track. This horse easily could run the 12. The only thing I don't like about him is they're putting blinkers on. I don't like blinker changes when they come on in races like this. But listen, he's a young horse. He's lightly raced. They're experimenting, and they're trying blinkers. So let's give him a shot.
6 different riders in his 6th race. How about that?
Correct. Well, right. Remember, they were also all over the place. One was at Fairgrounds. One was at Oaklawn. I guess the first 3 were in New York, so he should have probably had the same rider there, but he didn't. But the last 2 races, you could understand why there were different riders.
Okay, so again, the 4 is Sacrosanct. You got Brad Cox, and that's always going to take big money, as you said, John. 4 for 4, always been the favorite at post time, but it is coming off as 16.
Yeah, not only that, it's really not a good line on the sheets. 14, 14, 4. We don't see any improvement. If anything, we saw a backward move. Yeah, you're really supposed to bet against this horse.
Okay, and we talked about San Devil, who did run a 10 in the 1 mile race at Aqueduct. That was the race in January. So again, this horse looking a lot better on the sheet than the 4. Okay, then you've got the 6. Pagodi, a 30-1 shot coming off a 22 on synthetic. That horse has no chance.
Well, again, he's like a first-time starter. We don't know what he's going to do on the dirt.
Yeah.
You can't say they don't have a chance unless you know they don't have a chance. Yeah, I mean,
let's put it this way: no chance that we're going to bet him.
Well, he has to do something, to earn your respect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, Flood Zone, the 7 is 12-1. Cox is taking over for the first time. So Goes from a 26 to a 14, and
Well,
now Cox has him.
26 first out means nothing. Everyone knows the first race of your life. What does it mean? You know, how many times do you see a horse go 20-15? A lot of times. But I have a feeling that the 14 that he ran last time may have been a Lasix pop, because he got Lasix that time for the first time. And he, but again, it's certainly a positive barn switch. First time Cox from anyone is pretty good.
Yep. And you're getting 12 to 1 if you still get 12 to 1, which you should.
Yeah.
All right. The 8, McAfee. McAfee's got an 18 and then a 16. The 16's at the 1 mile. So that's okay. 16, not that far behind from the co-favorite we talked about. Dutra was having a hell of a meet. So you got the hot trainer at Aqueduct with a horse that did improve from his first to his second race, and you're getting 10 to 1.
Yeah, but he would have to make another improvement. I think he's going to be shorter than 10 to 1 because of the trainer. But listen, he's making his first start as a 3-year-old. Anything is possible. He laid him up after that race in November, obviously pointing for this spot.
Okay, and then we have the 9, Garamond. Boy, Chad Brown not having a blistering meet so far. That's surprising to see. And neither is Javier Castellano. This horse ran once, broke his maiden right away with a 15, 8 to 1.
Well, Chad Brown is not spending the winter in New York. He has horses here, but he's in Florida and he's all over the place. But for a Chad Brown, being 12 for 90 is not a great stat for him under normal circumstances.
And then the 10 is My Matoli or My Matol. And you've got Carlos Martin is having a nice meet. This horse is an Aqueduct horse, and you really do like the way that this horse has started out and then has finished in his last race. He's done nothing wrong. He's been positive all the way through. 21-19, then 14-13. Matter of fact, even after that 14, maybe you could have thought of a bounce, but maybe not, because he had enough time and he regrouped, had a great last race. Now, here he only has, 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, but you're getting 15 to 1.
He's coming off of Lasix. The good thing about him, like you said, is he's 15 to 1, and he's also never done anything wrong. Every race in his life has been better than the previous one. So I was using that horse underneath in one of my exactas. So I'm making Sand Devil more or less a lock. I'm putting the 5 on top of the 3, 4, and 10.
And I'm putting the 5 over the 8 and the 10.
Okay.
All right, so there you go. That is the Gotham. Don't forget, we'll have a bonus race after when we're done. Before we go and talk about the race at the Fountain of Youth, John, just quickly, the Santa Anita race. So there's only 5 in the field, really only 6, excuse me. Really only 3 that you're going to keep an eye on. I mean, Mellencamp's a 6-1 shot, but Baffert has 3 horses in here. Barnes, we just talked about. I'm finally going to get a chance to see him coming off an 8. You got Rodriguez with Pratt on board, and you've got Journalism, not a Baffert horse. That's a McCarthy horse. Is this just one of those races where Barnes just looks too good right now, and you're not going to make any money off this race, so just forget it?
No, I don't know. I mean, it's not. First of all, there's only 6 horses, and the 6-horse Berlin Wall has 0 chance, and Smooth Cruising has 0 chance. So basically, it's a 3 or 4 horse race. How could you make any money? Listen, if you're looking to beat Barnes, Journalism would be the horse that I would try to beat him with if I was interested in playing the race. Okay.
Let us go now to the Fountain of Youth. And
that's right, 13 on Saturday. 13. They have 9 stake races at Gulfstream on Saturday. It's really a terrific card.
Yeah, definitely a big day. Second to only the Florida Derby day, right?
Yeah,
this would be the second biggest day for them.
Yeah, I guess so. They got Florida Derby Day. They have Holy Bull Day. They have a couple. This is their championship meet. So yes.
Speaking of Holy Bull Day. The morning line favorites right now involve the Holy Bull winner. You've got the 6 right now, who is just ahead slightly at 2 to 1, River Thames. Then you've got the 3, Burnham Square, the Holy Bull winner. That's at 5 to 2, and the 2 is Sovereignty at 3 to 1. So you got three really good horses here in the Fountain of Youth. Let's start with the 1, Gate to Wire, a 6-1 shot coming off a 10. And that's a big, what was it, 9.8 point new top with not a whole lot of time left. So this is a predictable bounce situation for Pletcher's horse?
Well, not necessarily, for the simple reason his first 4 races of his life were run either on turf or synthetic. The last race, when he ran that big race, it was his first time and his only time on the dirt.
Okay.
So the problem with him is, though, that he's stretching out. His sire is kind of sprinty. You know, I personally think he's going to react, but for different reasons. He ran the 10 last time out, but it was his first race on the dirt for people that wanted to make a case for him. The problem is he's only 6-1. He's not long enough.
The 2 is the 3-1 shot, Sovereignty. William Mott is the trainer here, of course. And this horse really has done nothing wrong in 3 races. He's gone from 14 to 13 to an 11.
Yeah, and he ran the 11 early. You see, the difference between the 2, Sovereignty, and the 3, Burnham Square, is that Sovereignty ran the 11 in October. Burnham Square ran the 10 in December. So Sovereignty, like you said, has done nothing wrong. He's going to actually be my top selection here, even though Mott's not having a Mott-type year at Gulfstream. He's only 8 for 67. That's not a Mott-type year. But that being said, it's a Godolphin horse, highly regarded, well-bred, top and bottom. I think this horse is going to come out and run a new top, and a big new top, and I think this is the horse to beat.
The 3, Burnham Square, also has done nothing wrong. 18, 15, 10, and 9. Has raced the last 3 races at this distance, which is pretty impressive. And the Holy Bull winner, 2 for 2 at Gulfstream Park. Burnham Square is definitely one of the top Derby contenders right now.
No question about it. And like you said, his last 2 races were both at Gulfstream. And he put blinkers on for the 10, and he ran a huge race, and he kept the blinkers on in his last race. He ran well, and he beat that highly regarded Brad Cox horse last time out, who was making his second career start, who's a horse to look at down the road. Excuse me. Sorry. But listen, nothing wrong with Burnham Square.
Okay, the 4, McKellen, is a long shot with Gaffleone on board. You like the fact that he came up with a 13 after the 20, but then he bounced big time to a 23 after that.
Yeah, and the 13 was run on a frozen track, so I wouldn't put much into it. I don't like him.
The 5 is Solid Left. Brian Lynch, Saez combo is nice. 24 to start at Gulfstream. Comes right back, breaks his maiden with a 12. So it goes from a 24 to a 12. What do you think about Solid Left?
Well, this is what we were talking about. You know, how horses, what they do in their first race really means very little. To 24, obviously, first time out was a workout or whatever. They weren't going. Last time out, they gave the horse Lasix, and he did run the 12. But, you know, he's 20-1. If you wanted to use him, I could see using him, but I don't think he's going to win.
The 6, River Thames, is actually the morning line favorite right now, with Pletcher and Velasquez, a 12 to start, which is very impressive, and it comes right back with an 11, which is also impressive. So a 12 and 11, but this is the 2-1 morning line favorite, even though you have Sovereignty and Burnham Square in the field.
That's ridiculous. The horse has 2 lifetime starts. Yeah, he won first out by 4 lengths. He won his second race in his life by 6 lengths at a mile. It's never been the distance. He's never been around 2 turns, yet they decide to make him 2-1 morning line favorite. Not for me. I mean, you know, if you wanted to use him underneath, I could. I don't think he's going to beat the 2 or the 3 personally. But listen, he's 2 for 2. He's never done anything wrong. We'll find out how good he is on Saturday.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who winds up the favorite here.
I don't think he'll be the favorite. I think Burnham Square will probably end up being favorite.
Yeah, I think you're right.
No,
right.
but River Thames is Todd Pletcher and Johnny V. So, you know.
The 7 is, forget it. I'm not even going to try. You've got a Red Ortiz Jr. and Safi Joseph. That's an excellent tandem. The horse has been in the money 4 to 5 at Gulfstream with a couple of wins. He starts off nice, 18, 16, 12. Then he runs a 12 to follow that up earlier this year, but that was on a sloppy track. So this is not a bad horse to take a look at, considering, if you want to try to make some money, if some of those other horses don't come in.
Yeah, but the problem with this horse is he's never been long. He's got 5 lifetime starts. He's never been further than 7 furlongs, 2 starts back. So you're now asking him to go a mile and a 16th. I don't like him.
Well, I don't think there's any question that the 3 favorites are probably going to more than likely end up first. One of the combination will end up first or second.
You still have another horse in the race that you ignored that has a chance.
Yeah, but we're trying to make some money if we can, if it's possible.
All right,
in this one. Keep It Easy is the last horse at 8 to 1, and this is an up and downer already. So I wonder if we're going to look back in like 6 months, and this horse is going to keep this kind of trend going, where he's down, he's up, he's down, he's up.
Yeah, he's down, he's up, he's down, he's up, but he hasn't been out since November, so he's got plenty of time from that race. Listen, to run a 14 back in June when he ran it, that's a big number. And the 11 he ran last time out at Churchill, but he's got the same problem that other horses have. He's never been 2 turns, and now he's being asked to go 2 turns off of a layoff. Listen, Dale Romans is having the meat of his life. I think he's hitting at about 30%. So that's, for that reason alone, I would consider using him. And he's going to be a price.
Yeah, the fact that he's got that time off, that makes all the difference in the world, like you said.
Yeah, so I like Sovereignty the best. I'm putting the 2 over the 3 Burnham Square, the 6 River Thames, and the 8 Keep It Easy. 2 over the 3, 6, and 8.
All right, and I'm going with the 3, and then I'm going to try to get lucky with some higher odds horses to see if I can make some money with the 7 and the 8. So that's going to wrap it up. I know that we don't have a lot of big races coming up, I think, because it's such a great week this week.
Well, you don't have races for 3-year-olds coming up, the Derby, but there are good stake races. Doesn't New York have some good stakes next week? I think
not next week. Next week, the biggest race is at Santa Anita. That's the Beholder Mile. It's a Grade 1, and then there are. I think there's about 7 or 8 graded stakes races next week, and that's it. Actually, I'm taking a look here. I think this is it. I don't see anything for New York until April.
Oh, okay.
That's the Wood Memorial Day.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's the way it's going to be next week. Again, it's going to be a great week of racing this weekend, John. I'm going to continue, of course, but I appreciate the time as always.
All right, Greg. Stay safe and be well. Everybody, remember to hit subscribe. I got to remind you every week.
Yes, thank you very much, John.
See ya. Thank you, Greg.
You got it.
Everybody.
And, of course, that's something that we should be talking about earlier in the show. Yeah, I mean, I got so many other things on my mind, but that's what I have to do. I have to now remind myself to put subscribe because, matter of fact, you know what? This is as good a time as any. If you're still with me, let's see. I'm going to show you, because there might be a lot of people out there that do not know how to do this. You're not really into the whole technology deal, and you don't go to YouTube very often, if at all, and except for, of course, for our races, for our shows. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Probably should have done this a few other times in the beginning of the shows. All right, so let's say you go to our channel, and it's the home page. So you scroll down, it's got all the different sports that we handicap. Oh, there's horse racing. So let's look. Oh, we got last few shows, very nice. We've got some good viewership. I really like that. Okay, so let's take a look at one of these races here, or one of these shows here. And there you go. See, there's my mic. That's what it should look like, but it's busted. All right, so let's see. This is all you have to do. Now, see, I've already subscribed. That's because, you see, I'm on my other channel. See, this is me on my other channel. I've got like 5 channels that I manage. So this is my personal channel. So, but this is where the subscribe button will be. All right. So all you have to do is it'll be in white and it'll say subscribe. All you have to do is click it. That's it. You just put your mouse over it, click it, boom, you're subscribed. That's it. Now, what's really good about that, there's a few things that are really good about that. One is that it helps to support the channel and our show. And that's really important because if we're going to keep doing this and if we're going to keep doing it even better in the future, meaning technology, we start to make more money with the channel. We can start to do a whole bunch of really cool things where the production of the shows could be almost as good as you would see on television. And that's not a joke. That's the way technology is nowadays. We can accomplish this. And that's why YouTube is as big as it is right now. So that's number one. Number two, if you are someone that does hang out at YouTube, maybe you check it out every day or two, you watch some videos. If you subscribe and then you open up your YouTube account that day and you check out what they provide for you and they got a whole bunch of videos, suggestions, well, it'll pop up and it'll say, hey, there's a show here from that channel. And it's up to you if you want to watch it or not. So that makes it, a lot easier for you to, it's basically them sort of like, when you're setting up your TV channel guides on YouTube or at other places, if they give you the option to set them up, which channels to choose and things of that nature, that's similar to what being able to subscribe to a channel on YouTube is, because then you just pop up your homepage and boom, they shower you with videos that they think you're going to be interested in and videos that you subscribe to. All right. Also, it's really cool to share the videos because, once again, that helps us out. And for obvious reasons, because if you share the videos to your friends and family and whatever, then that just helps because they'll find out, oh, I didn't know about this, and then get a new viewer. And then to like it too. And I probably should have. I can throw that up here. If you want to know how to like it, like our video. See, it's right here. So we already have 54 likes on this video. You just click that. I don't think I did. So there you go. I just made 55. And here's the share. You click that. All right. And then if you already you have your own Twitter account, your own X account. If you click that, it'll send it to your Twitter account. And then you can share it to everybody on your Twitter account, on your X account. Same thing with Facebook. You have a Facebook page. You click that. It goes right to, yeah, I'll show you. You can see my Facebook page. All right. And all you got to do is, it's not showing up the way it should because of, the way that but all you have to do is at this point is there'll be a thing here. You got to do is, you can probably just hit this, but it's easy. Once you come into Facebook, you'll see it. And you just come back here. All right. Anyway, and here's all the different social media platforms you can share it to. So, like I said, it really does help us out, and it helps you out because it makes it easy for you. All right. So there you go. Enough of that. Let's now, where are we? We went over the San Felipe. There wasn't much to go over there. So I'm going to go over a bonus race now. Where are we? 45. Okay. So let's do that. And this is at Gulfstream. And let's see. It's going to be race number 9. So I think that means at this point, based on our recent discussions on Twitter, I guess this means that Bruce isn't going to be hanging around because now I'm going to do some handicapping. I'm just kidding, Bruce, if you're still here. Okay. So look, I do this not because I want to give you my picks. I'm doing this so everybody out there, you can get additional information. That's all it is. Because if you, for whatever reason, have not decided to get the sheets, I don't know why you haven't. But if you haven't, then I'm sharing this information for you. That is a cost. So this race we're going to talk about is race 9, the Canadian Turf Stakes. This is one of those 8 or 9 stakes races, graded stakes races at Gulfstream on Saturday. Now, what we're going to try to do here in this race is we're going to try to beat the two co-favorites who could bounce. All right. So you've got Fort Washington and Major Dude, the 3 and the 4, 5-2 and 2-1. And another thing we should point out to anybody that's new to this video, to this show, or to the channel, but specifically this show, we used to have Chad Summers on, a thoroughbred trainer, and he was on for whatever, a year with us, 2 years maybe even, I don't even know. So, and he pointed out Fort Washington when he was still on the show. This was back in June, and he liked Fort Washington as a 35-1 shot. And Fort Washington ran a 7 and won the race, and that was awesome. Okay? So, but here's the thing. He hasn't won since. And it's strange too, because when I was looking at the sheets first, because the odds didn't come out yet. So I was looking at the sheets yesterday, and I was looking at the sheet numbers, and I saw Fort Washington ran a 4. And I didn't even think, because I didn't even look at the results. I just automatically felt or thought that, well, he had to run in a win, right? You run a 4, you won. This isn't Barnes. He finished in 5th. That's like crazy, but only two lengths behind. And he was closing. Okay, so now, then I looked at it and I said, well, wait a second. Major Dude, when he ran his 5, he ran it in the same race. And he finished 6th, 3 lengths back. So I thought that was pretty funny. Because I just, again, automatically assumed that horses in this category, I just figured, well, if you run a 4 or 5, you won the race. Neither one of them not only didn't win the race, but they didn't even get in the money. So now, whether that means anything or not, strategically, you know, this is something that obviously John can fill in. He's the expert. But normally, all we're looking at is the number, and they both ran this incredibly low number a month ago. Now, normally the cutoff time to bounce is 6 weeks, give or take. We're not at 6 weeks. And Major Dude, I believe this is a 4-point new top. Fort Washington, this is a 3-point new top. And Fort Washington's number was a little better. So, you know, it does, in that light, you would think, well, that is an edge for Fort Washington, but not much. Also, keep in mind, Fort Washington's 6 years old, so he's got a rebound off of a 4 at 6, and he's never won a Gulfstream. Okay, now Major Dude has won a Gulfstream, and he actually has a little bit more of an impressive resume than Fort Washington. So I think that's the way to go if you're taking either of those two horses. But I am going to try and go in another direction and hope that they both bounce. All right. So that's why I threw in 4 horses in here. 2 that I like at the top. The 1, Irish Aces, and the 5, Silent Heart. And Irish Aces at 7-2 is coming off back-to-back 8s. Also ran an 8 in June in a grade 3 race. All right. You have Gaffley and Walsh combo, which is really nice. You know, you raced at Gulfstream before, got some wins at this distance before. And the 8s, like if we just say, okay, well, yeah, but for Washington ran a 4, Major Dude ran a 5, but they had never run that before. And again, the idea is that we're expecting them to bounce. Now, maybe for Washington and Major Dude, because they ran such low numbers, will only bounce to an 8. Something like that. And maybe that's good enough to win. But we're going to hope not. All right. Anyway, so the idea here is there's nothing wrong with back-to-back 8s coming in here, 3 8s since June. I think that's good in this field of horses if those other 2 horses bounce. And then the other one is Silent Heart, the Lynch horse, and he's heading in the right direction. 14, 11, 9 in his last 3. The 9 was the new top, only 2-point top. He's got 2 out of 3 wins. You know, Lynch, good trainer, having a solid meet. The horses won 3 out of 5 at Gulfstream. You're getting a lot better odds than the 2 favorites at 6-1. So again, that's why I like the 1 and the 5. Those are the 2 horses that I'm going to try to. I mean, look, I'm going to put them in an exacta together, but the idea is that one of the 2 will be the horse I'll look to win. The other 2 that I'm going to try to make some money on, if the 2 favorites bounce and don't come in first or second, will be the 6 and the 7. The 6 is Paros, a 15-1 shot. Since the trainer changed to Michael Maker from Linda Rice, and we know Linda Rice knows how to train, but since the trainer change, he went 3 for 3, as you can see there. So win, win, win. Ran an 11. Now keep this in mind too. With Linda, okay, the horse had previously been running 13, 13, 14. Matter of fact, it was a really nice line. Forget about the race where he came off the turf there, the one in May. Take the one in May of this past year. Just take a look recently. Since, let's see, over his last 7 races, okay, on turf. 15, 15, then we have 14, 13, 13, 11, 9. And yes, by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but yes, this is a turf race. So that's a good line. And it's nice, steady progression. And then at 9, sticks out. Then he goes on a synthetic track, a turfway, not sure why, but good decision because he wins. And he runs a 7. Comes back to turf and runs an 11. Now, the 7 is a new top. I don't look at it as a bounce deal because, again, it's different surfaces, as John explained before. But I don't know. Something happened there. He had all the momentum in the world. And he had won his previous 2 races with Linda, by the way. So it's not like, you know, I know the numbers were slower. The sheet numbers were slower. But, you know, this horse had still, but there were a couple of claiming races. Goes to Michael Maker. Another claiming race, an optional claiming race with the win. Then an allowance race with a win. Then an even bigger allowance race with another win. Then, and that one, by the way, was the Turfway one. Then steps it up even further, grade 3 in Tampa. Things don't go well, finishes 6th, but runs an 11, which isn't totally bad. Anyway, just to get out of here, the fact is I'm getting 15-1. Now, Michael Maker knows what he's doing. Seems to know what he's doing with this horse. The numbers are good right now for this horse, and he's won 3 out of 4 from this distance on top of it. And then the other horse that I want to try to get some money on here is Stanley House, the 7 at 12-1. Velazquez on board. And this is just because if you look at all of his synthetic numbers, he's got 2 6s and 2 8s and a 9. He's coming off the 9 his last time at Gulfstream. But at least I see he's got 1 turf race, and that was an 8. Now, that was not at a bigger track, but it was still an 8. If I didn't see that, I wouldn't really be too interested. But that gives me a little bit of hope because he's been running 6s and 8s and 9s on the synthetic, and now he's got an 8 on turf. So what if he runs another 8 on turf? Maybe that's good enough to finish in the money somewhere. And look at all the races. I mean, he's been running in some, good graded 2, graded 3 races. So, yeah. So I'm going to go with the 6 and the 7 are going to be the horses I'm going to go with to try to make money on. The 1 and the 5 are going to be the 2 picks. And all of this is a waste of my and your time, I guess, if the 2 morning line favorites actually wind up showing up and don't bounce. But just to try to give you some more info, the 2 Axiom, the 30-1 shot, has a 9 last September at Kentucky Downs. Nothing else in single digits. He is coming up a 10 now at Gulfstream Park, and he does have 2 10s and 1 9 in his last 5 races. But the results here are just too hard to ignore in his last 3 races. So that's why he's 30 to 1. Then you have, let's see, who else didn't we talk about? Then we have the 20 to 1 shot, Skyro, the Rosario ridden horse, the 8 horse. Trainer change, so keep that in mind. 7-year-old horse. Yeah, keep that in mind. Nothing on turf, though, close to what these other horses are getting. You're only getting 13s and 12s on turf. Synthetic, the best you're getting are 7s, but that was in 2023. Recently, you're getting 10s and 12s. So we have better options from horses who have better numbers, similar. Omni King and Atone are the final 2 horses in the field. Omni King is coming off 2 11s on turf. Okay, so that's not totally bad. Those are both wins, but there's no competition there. There's other horses to go with. And Atone, this is another maker horse at 12 to 1. Does have a couple of 8s, but that was back in January of last year, and also October of the year before that. We also have a 9 of March last year. But since the 9 of March, the best you have is a 10 in July and back-to-back 11s coming in. So yeah, so that's why I don't think that those horses are better than the ones that we have listed as our picks. So yeah, so again, that's the way we're going to go at it. So it's going to basically be, let's see, if I had to choose between the 1 and the 5, I would probably go with the 1. So I would go 1 5, and this definitely does matter with the odds. Let's just say if by somehow the odds got equal. To tell you the truth, if they get equal, I'm going to like Irish Aces even more, because that means Irish Aces is coming back. There's no way Irish Aces is going lower. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe he might, because he's got Brendan Walsh and Gaff Leone. I shouldn't say that. Maybe other people might think the way I'm thinking. I don't know. It has happened before. So, because if I see it, they see it. And if I can see it, they can see it. So, yeah. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I'll go 1 over the 6, over the 5, excuse me, and then the 6 and 7 in there as well to try to make some money. So, there you go. All right. So, that is the race. That's race number 9 at Gulfstream. Once again, in the Fountain of Youth, John went with the 2 Sovereignty, the 3 to 1 shot over the 3, the 6, and the 8. So John's not fooling around. 3 top horses. He expects them to be there at the end. I don't blame him at all. Probably the way it's going to end up. And then the only other horse that he has in there to see if he can, make a little change is Keep It Easy, the 8. That's the Romans horse. And by the way, the numbers, I know I said up and down, 28 to 14, then 27 to 11. And the good thing is he's getting better each time he comes back to the number. Now, this horse is going to do 1 or 2 things. One, we're going to get lucky. We're going to pick him, and he's going to end up 1st or 2nd. And his number is going to go from 11 to 10 or 9 or 8. And then we're gonna realize, yeah, the time off helped him. Or this horse is just going to continue to be up and down, as I said before. And then 6 months from now, we're going to see a trend that over 7 or 8 races is up and down. So we'll see. But to me, and I'm guessing John's also, because he mentioned it, the thing that really makes it, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's doing the right thing with the time off and he's going to be different, is Dale Romans having such a great meet. Okay, and then I'm going with the 3 over the 7-8. Matter of fact, I think we have a viewer. I don't know if I have that comment on our board somewhere, but we did have a viewer, and you know who you are, who mentioned Burnham Square. No, you know what? It may not. Maybe it was Mark Lawrence has a newsletter called the Coffee Club. It's a really cool newsletter. You should check it out. There's links in the description on our channel we do a weekly show called Playbook ATS Podcast. And on that show, we get all of our top handicappers, guys that have been working with Mark in the industry for a long time, including new handicappers. And we get together, and it's like 4 or 5 of us every week. Sometimes it's 3 or 4, but the bottom line is on that show, in the description, you have links for the Coffee Club email. And that is an email that comes out every day. You open up your email in the morning, and you get this newsletter. And all it is 1 page. And it just gives you some really cool handicapping information, sports story, things, but very, very little. So it's not a lot of reading. You'll be done in 5 minutes. But there's really cool stuff in there that you can find. I always find like one cool thing at least at every newsletter. Anyway, in that newsletter, he had someone in there that mentioned Burnham Square as a horse that he liked, as well he should. So there you go. But Burnham Square, that's going to be my choice, not because he said it, over the 7 and the 8. Is that likely? Probably not. I think John knows what he's doing there with the 3 favorites. Are probably going to go in maybe even top 3 order. But you never know. Maybe that's not going to happen. Crazier things have happened. And I'm going with the 8, including the 7. Neoquos. Oh, forget it. All right, so there you go. Fountain of Youth. And then we also, of course, led off with the Gotham. We both went with the 5, Sand Devil. And this was easy because, you just, if you're going to work the sheets, it's a slam dunk that you're going to take Sand Devil. With the 2 morning line co-favorites, one has 10, 10, and 12s. So if I add that up, that's 32. And if I go over to the other co-favorite, Sacrosanct, let's take his last 3 races because he has 4. He's got 44 points, and we've got 32. So we've got 12 less points, and of course you want the lesser points. So that's a big difference. It's an easy decision for us. There's no reason to kind of get cute. That's why sometimes John and I are going to have the same picks when it's easy. John is also going to go with the 3, 4, and 10. And I'm going with the 8 and the 10. So, just like we did with Romans, Dutro's having a huge meet at Aqueduct. And I like, if I see a horse myself, if I see a horse that's kind of, right around the outskirts and maybe, but then I'm thinking no. And I see that there's a good rider, but more importantly, really, really hot trainer for that meet, maybe the combination. Oh, he's in. I'm always going to do that. Okay, so that's Fountain of Youth. That's Gotham. Give you the bonus race. And then once again, Santa Anita. I think John mentioned Journalism is a horse that he's possibly going to go with if he doesn't take Barnes. If you want to know who John is picking, link in the description. You can check out his packages. You can email him and find out all sorts of things regarding how he sells his packages. And I tell you what, between us, if you say to John, and you've never had the package before though, okay? You've never tried John's packages before. And you say to John, hey, I've never tried the packages before. I'm a new viewer to the show. And I did subscribe. I made sure to subscribe. Can you give me a discount? Can you give me, can you give me, can you give me a discount? Complimentary, possible. You can ask him. He's not going to say no. But again, this is if you have never purchased the packages before from John. All right, so I'm very interested to see how Barnes goes, but everybody seems to be high on this horse, and he did run an 8. So we'll see how that goes. And I agree with John if he likes Journalism. I think that's the way to go. Yeah, probably is 3 against 2. Probably be 3-2, maybe 3-2-4 is how it'll go. And maybe that's the way you can make money. Maybe there's a little way you can make money on the trifecta. Mellencamp, just so you know, the one horse is coming off a 13. He's got two 13s. They're both at Santa Anita. All right. So keep that in mind. The other two, 15, 19. So he seems to like Santa Anita. Two 13s. That's the other Bob Baffert horse. They paid big money for this horse too, but he hasn't even broken his maiden yet. And in this field, when you're talking about horses that have already run a 9, an 8, and an 8, and Mellencamp hasn't run anything better than a 13, yeah, that's just not going to be the way to go. The 5, the 30-1 shot is definitely the play over the 6. They're both 30-1 because the 5 has run twice and he's got a 10 and a 12. That's pretty good. If you look at it, Rodriguez has a 10, 12, and an 8, but he's got 3 races. So smooth cruising. The problem is he runs the grade 2 race after breaking his maiden, and he, disappointing 4th. But 12 is not bad after you run a 10 to start your career. The question is, though, can you see, is it possible for the 5 to get into second place so you can make some money with Barnes if you're going Barnes' way? I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but not likely. All right, so that's going to do it. Once again, for next week, let's take a look at our schedule next week. We are going to be going over races at Gulfstream. We got the grade 3 Hurricane Birdie. Oaklawn, the grade 2 Aziri. Santa Anita has the grade 1 Beholder Mile and the grade 3 San Simeon. And Tampa's got most of them. They got grade 2 Hillsborough and 3 grade 3s, including the Tampa Bay Derby and the Florida Oaks. So we have some time before things get really, really good, because then in 2 weeks, we only have 3 graded stakes races. And then in 3 weeks, things start to get better. We've got the Louisiana Derby at Fairgrounds. We also have the Jeff Ruby Stakes that week. And then, bingo, we move on to next week to the Florida Derby, the Arkansas Derby, followed by the very next week with the Wood Memorial, the Bluegrass Stakes, the Santa Anita Derby, and to top it off, the Dubai World Cup. So unfortunately, speaking of Dubai, things did not work out for Chad. We thought it was going to be a tough call for Chad to go out there. His horse, there was a lot to like. His horse really looked like a contender. And so we were, really looking forward to seeing what he could do, in these Derby prep races. And unfortunately, he decided, and it didn't work out, he decided to go ahead and, take the horse overseas, drug him up, and hope that, because he's got to deal with the flight, and hope that he's okay. Well, it didn't work out for Cyclone State, and we'll see whether or not when he comes back, whenever he decides to race him, we just got to hope, keep our fingers crossed that that trip doesn't kill him. And of course, we mean figuratively. And if it doesn't, then maybe if he gets enough points, we'll see him in the Derby. So keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, it was very disappointing to see that it did not work out for Chad. Okay, so thanks for tuning in once again. Apologize for the mic issues. I'm going to hope to get this taken care of as soon as I get tech people to get back to me, and hopefully, because I like to have the best audio possible for you guys. This is why I was also talking about supporting the channel, and the more that we can grow, and the more that we do, the more money that we'll make, and the more we can put it on different things like production value and so forth. And the more that we put back into it too, where it can help us out with even more information not just for this show, obviously, but for all the other shows that we have, it'll make it even better for us to get the information out. And the more time and effort that we can not have to put on a lot of other things, but now we got some extra business revenue coming in. We can add editors, better equipment, and again, the whole production value is awesome. So we've still got a ways to go here on Proline TV, but knowing that we are associated with two legends in the industry, in Jim Feist and Mark Lawrence, and also we have all of these handicappers on this channel that are participating, and they have that niche for their specific sport, like John does for the horse racing show. We've got two handicappers for hockey. We talk about college basketball several times a week. I do a show with Jim. Right now it's on every Friday, but also we've been adding another show. The tournament's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have a golf handicapper that comes on every Tuesday. We have a NASCAR handicapper that comes on every Wednesday. So everybody talks about, well, it's football season is over. What is there? Well, we're very busy, and we're going to continue to be busy over the summer. And we've already even just put on some baseball shows. Andy and Tony did that, and they're going to follow baseball throughout the summer. So we're covering all the major sports, including the sports that a lot of people usually don't watch, like the average big audience that pays attention to football, baseball, and basketball. But we do a lot of the other fringe sports per se, in horse racing, golf, NASCAR, and so forth. So I'm out of here. Thanks for tuning in. And as John said before he left, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And we'll see you next week right here on Proline TV.